We might be the Chihuahua.
You are an ostrich.
Eggs.
Dilly din, dilly dong, come on!
As electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub, my friend.
Aguero! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
I don't believe it! You messed up!
It's Torres!
Welcome back to another episode of the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game. With me are my usual co-hosts, Charlie Betts and Daniel Cody.
Good evening. Coming up on today's episode, what's the impact of video games and football? And is streaming live football matches making you not go to games anymore?
How's your week been, lads?
My week was quite interesting. I found out, I went to a school trip to Whipsnade Zoo yesterday before the England-Belgium game, and I found one of your favourite parts of the World Cup this year, Craig, which is animals predicting football matches.
Oh no.
So I went to Whipsnade Zoo, went to the bear pit at 10 o'clock. I'll be honest, it reminded me a bit of the scene in Anchorman, because
I thought it would be.
There was a newsreader and, not a newsreader, like a reporter, Jeremy Langdon, is that his name?
Jeremy Langdon, Sky Sports.
Basically Sky Sports News, some bloke with a camera, by the way, which our kids are in the background of, and then they asked us to move to get out the back of the shot, even though we were there first. But anyway, that's another story.
And probably going on paying to be there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
He has rights.
But at first I couldn't work out what was going on, because they were filming these bears, but there was no boxes, and then the Belgian box come out, then the England box come out, then the bears come out, and as we know, the Bears predicted a draw. No, one went for the Belgian box, one went for the England box, and one of them just generally just sat in the middle, didn't even look like he knew what was going on.
I don't think the Bears' interested in football, to be
Well,
honest.
Craig, I mean, all I'll say is Paul the Octopus, what was his percentage of correct scores?
I think it was about 100% anyway.
Do you know what I don't like about them? There's only two boxes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
How
why.
do they predict a draw?
Well, I called the draw, but I don't think on Sky Sports News it was. But there literally was there was three bears in the, I don't know what you call it, bear pit. One was on the Belgian box, one was on the England box, and one of them just sat in the middle. So that's got to be a draw, surely.
I'm not sure.
But I mean, Craig, we're getting away from the fact that, Craig, that's your favourite part of the World Cup, is it?
I don't want to see on Sky Sports News every day, to be honest, of who's going to predict it right, because most of them have got it wrong.
There was a dog, wasn't there, recently as well? It was like a sausage dog.
Last time they were at Whipsnade Zoo for England-Panama, the Bear predicted Panama was going to win, and Panama lost 6-1, so why do they keep showing the same bears?
Yeah, I do think as well, like there was one where it was a dog, I can't remember what game it was, but one of the plates was like pork, and the other one just looked like tripe. Of course the dog went for the pork.
It does depend largely on the food, doesn't it?
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the dog's like, I'm not used to this, I'm going to go for the one I like.
Yeah, but that's been my week, and it made me chuckle tremendously when I saw that and sent it to you straight away, because I know you just love animals predicting football matches.
I'm not an animal hater, just thought we'll let you know. I just don't want them predicting, I think it's cruelty. Anyway, segue, moving on.
Segue, yes. Love a good segue.
Every week.
Do you like playing FIFA or Pro Evo or Football Manager, guys?
Well, I want to caveat this firstly, that this discussion is not a discussion about which one's better, because I think you could do a whole hour on whether you're a Pro Evo man, a FIFA man, you know, it's not really about that. I think it's more the principle of what they stand for. On that note though, I probably am a Pro Evo man, just for the more unpredictability of the game, even though, I'll be honest, the fact I haven't got the licences and, I don't know.
Man Red.
Yeah, West Ham, East London, and what's the other one? Oh, Brentford, that's the best one. Hounslow West.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the
But I
championship
think
teams.
it's
London Whites.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's a better game than FIFA, to be honest. FIFA's very like.
I think get better graphics and that.
It's closer to
Yeah.
the purist view of football, isn't
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. But anyway, that's, as I say, we're segueing, aren't we, Craig? Off to,
it? Doesn't work when you do it.
Leave the segues to me. But
no.
Do you think kids and that just don't do any active sport? Just
Well-
sticking to playing FIFA or Football Manager?
Oh,
laptop
in the fashion of sitting on the fence, I'm probably going to present both sides of the argument, but I'll start with the sort of prosecution for why football games are probably not good for kids. From a sort of being a school teacher and in charge of PE at my school, it is encouraging a bit more of a sedentary lifestyle in the sense of, you know, children are now playing football on games rather than actually going and playing football, which I think is slightly worrying.
But are video games the main reason?
Well, no, that's the thing. Our football games' main reason, no, our other video games, there's one called Fortnite, I don't know if you've heard of this or not.
I've heard of Fortnite.
The less I know about it.
The
Old man. Just because you can't do the dances doesn't mean you have to go dance.
I mean, I will be honest, like, without going into boring school teacher stuff, there's a massive push on this whole childhood obesity. Obesity.
Yeah.
And we're having to, as a school, we're having to do like 30 minutes of exercise a day, every day. For the simple reason that it appears socially that a lot of children now are not going out and playing, not just football, I suppose, lots of other sports, and they're choosing to sit in and play FIFA for 3-4 hours at a time, especially if it's in the middle of summer like it is here. Still choosing to do that, so when they could be out active. And I know you go on about the good old days of when we were kids. Part of the reason we probably went out and played more was because we didn't have less. We had less of a choice, or to a point, which probably Daniel was going to fire back at me in a bit. When we were kids, the games were so unrealistic that, you know, it was quite arcadey. You could only stomach about an hour, and then you sort of had enough, really, hadn't you? Whereas now they're so realistic, maybe it hooks you in a bit more. But I do think that they've got a certain amount to answer for. The one that does my head in the most is his VAR one. VAR, sorry. Bloody hell. These
Have they got that already?
Yeah. No, but you know these VR headsets where you can play football.
Oh yeah,
I feel like, you know, if you could put a VR headset on and it's you kicking a football, go out and kick a football.
Not me
just do an actual kick. Go out and do it. Like,
virtual reality is the worst thing to be invented.
So I think there is that, but I am also aware that I'm probably going to be countered with some good points, of which I actually agree with. But I just do think that we've got to somehow manage it, because I do think that children, for example, the area that I teach in, they come into my school at 1 in 5 are obese on a scale. They leave at 1 in 3. So every third child, in fact, out of us 3 here, if we were in the same school year, one of us would be obese. I think we all know which one it is. But
only just.
No, the point being is that, and I do honestly believe that FIFA has a lot to answer for, or Pro Evo, you know, whatever you want to call it.
The thing is that they're saying now with FIFA and Pro Evo, it's now like you get the world tournaments and they're classifying that as a sport.
Esports.
Esports. That is not a sport for me. All you're doing is sitting there. Why is there so many people who are watching someone play FIFA? We do that when we're drunk.
Is darts a sport then? You know?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan, go on, mate.
The biggest problem I have
than sitting down
is not the fact that people want to play esports, and not the fact they want to organise esports tournament. It's the fact that both two big brands in the UK, Sky Sports and BT Sport, have purchased rights to esports and are showing it on their TV channels.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
If you're showing esports as a sport on the sport channel, then kids of today will say, well, that's just as much of a sport as Premier League football or Championship football, because it's on Sky Sports, the main channel.
Yeah, and I suppose that this podcast isn't about children and the future. Well, it is, but it isn't. But I think the point being is the impact it's having on grassroots football in general. I think you're losing a lot of kids. I mean, we were speaking about the decline of 11-a-side.
I think
a few.
But I don't think video games are the main reason, to be honest. I know we're going completely off topic here, but I just walked through my park the other day, right, and the grass was hitting the top.
No, I've got to be honest. That does.
And that's the middle of summer, the beautiful weather. There's a goalpost there, and
we're getting really political now. But I think due to cuts and stuff, you know, the local council just. I think they cut it. Was it 3 times a year or whatever it is?
There's a point where the kids couldn't physically have played in that park.
So that has a massive amount to ask for. I totally agree with you.
I don't think video games is the main reason.
No, but I think it does contribute. But is it?
But for kids like FIFA and Pro Evo, and some sort of way Football Manager, but for adults as well, most adults would play Football Manager and they might use some stats for that, but they'll just sit on their backsides and stay at home rather than go and play 5-a-side and 7-a-side.
Well, you don't want us to play 5-a-side.
I'll play Football Manager.
I would say Football Manager, you know, you can lose days to that game. It's
exactly.
So addictive, you know, and that's good. It's okay to have it. But even I find sometimes if I've maybe played the computer for a bit, play Pro Evo or something, I do feel a bit like, what's the word, doughy. Like I could have gone out and actually done some exercise, but now I've just taken Cardiff City to Championship or something like to the Champions League. Sorry, so something stupid like that.
On the flip side, you see people like young kids playing games like FIFA and that. Do you think and see the skills they just must have pressing the button? Do you think they'll go outside the park or out in their garden and try these skills? Or
that's part of my argument. I think people would be more inclined to play based on what they've experienced in video games. I know Charlie's itching to give some examples of professional footballers who have quite openly stated that the skills that their players have performed on FIFA that they've not in their wildest dreams attempted in a real life game or a professional game have now become along. So I'll let you have a rant about your superstar.
Alex Iwobi, or however you pronounce his name, he's been quite an advocate for playing computer games. Basically, he claims that it's helped improve his game. He can spot gaps and what's the quote he said? Whenever I played against someone, I always looked them up on FIFA beforehand to see how good they were. So, before he played against a particularly professional player, I don't know, I'm trying to think, maybe somebody a bit less well known, he'd look up their stats on FIFA, can they head, because of the accuracy of the FIFA stats.
And I mean,
in
that
general.
seems to have worked really well for him. doesn't it?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I don't actually believe that because how's he supposed to prove on the pitch?
Well, his exact words were, I'd look at his name, he said, and I'd try to remember how good he was on FIFA. Another thing he used to do was he used to, for example, like you were saying, Dan, actually, you know, the skills and stuff, he'd practice in the cage that he grew up in East London. Not grew up in, sorry, that's terrible. Like he would play football in. But the one quote from Alex Iwobi that cracked me up the most was that he wanted to be like Ronaldinho, the Brazilian playmaker, blah, blah, blah. He had all these tricks, things that he couldn't even do in normal life, but he could do on the computer. But here's the best bit. He also had a soft spot for Aidan McGeady. As in the...
Go on.
Who's obviously the less remarkable Irish winger. He said,
I thought he was a
I
decent
also
player.
had a soft spot for him.
Yeah.
He had one term that I would go into the garden and practice. Now, as far as I'm aware, that's probably just a Cruyff term, which isn't named after Aidan McGeady. But
Yeah.
What was the McGeady skill?
well, that's the thing. I did a quick bit of reconnaissance on YouTube, and I couldn't really find any specific term that was exclusive to Aidan McGeady. But
Or that Aidan McGeady had ever done.
yeah, exactly.
He's saying that he improves his own game from playing FIFA, but I don't see that when I watch Alex Iwobi, and he could be a contender for a certain list.
We could argue it's
in
led to the
future
decline in
reference.
defending, which I know is something that you worry about, because everything, for children now, everything's focused on attacking and goals and attacks and chances and goals again.
How's him playing FIFA improve his positioning in games? I
Well,
don't understand that. 'cause
I disagree with it, but
that is a computer doing that. The computers just do
Well,
what the computer does.
it's in-
That does not improve it.
It's interesting to say that because I think it's fairly obvious to say that we probably don't live in the same, even when we grew up, the society of, you know, when we were young, we'd have a hero, whether it be Alan Shearer or Paul Gascoigne or whatever.
bit before my time, mate.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose, yeah, I don't know, in your case, probably...
Frank Lampard.
Yeah, Frank Lampard as well. But
Frank
the point being is that now that doesn't seem to be the case. Like, a lot of the children I teach, actually, like Neymar and Messi. Why? Because of the sort of, you know, they're plastered all over FIFA. You know, in terms of, I very rarely do I see a child mention Harry Kane, you know, as an Englishman or something like that.
It's certainly led to a lot more support of non-British leagues
Yeah.
in football.
Yeah.
But the
Which
point being is
benefits
because we don't live in that sort of society where we have these idols like we used to have, actually, you know, a lot of it comes from FIFA, these best players. But the important point that people would make for why FIFA is a good thing for football is it introduces tactics and stuff to kids at a much younger age than what we would have had. You know, when sort of jumping to goalposts, all that sort of stuff was great, but really it would just be, you know, you play wherever you want. Now children of like 8, 9, 10 years old know what 3-5-2 is, 4-4-2, you know.
They know how to play for a 0-0.
I mean, I've got to be, yeah, which you don't get an extra point for.
Facts.
But I've got to be honest, and this is a true story, like we've got some bang average kids at school who, like, you know, they're terrible footballers, but they know what a CDM is. Like, and I hear them on the playground, I'm playing CDM, because, you know, that's what they have on FIFA, you know, or, I don't know, they've got an ultimate
Because they're
team.
on base, probably.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably why they're playing CDM. But yeah, so you could argue that we're going to have a generation of footballers who are growing up in this country, whatever standard they play, who are more tactically aware than maybe previous years. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but
It's good to know that they know these sort of positions, but it's doing it on the pitch itself.
Yeah.
well, yeah. Obviously, I
It's
think
good to try out new positions, mate. Don't get me wrong.
No, absolutely.
Some people start as striker and end up in the defence. Some people at defence end up as strikers. Some people do.
I suppose what the point is that as a young player, you maybe know the attributes you need more to play in a particular position that maybe our generation didn't. You know, like
Well,
I was
our generation was standard 4-4-2.
Yeah, but what
the
I mean
problem is they don't know how to use a football because they haven't been outside.
well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's
they
where
can't-
you've got to have that very fine balance of
You've got to do it, so don't be lazy.
knowing all the stuff, but not being able to physically go outside and do it, compared to being outside all the
So,
time but not having a clue what
for
you're
example, if you're going to be that kid and play CDM, being the example that we've seen recently with Jordan Henderson.
Really good player.
doing.
Yeah,
No,
really good
it's
player.
so negative. Anyway, that's another discussion for another
But
time.
Some
can't
players
do it.
won't like follow. Oh, Jordan Henderson's playing CDM today. I'm going to see what we can do on FIFA. I'm going to see what I can do in a playground or in a park.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with this, is I had a completely different angle on this, and I looked mainly at the impact on the professional game. Because as we've discussed before, everything that starts in the professional game works its way down.
Yeah, good point. Yes.
And I've led mainly to Football Manager, mainly because that's the game that sort of came around 2004, 2005. If I was finishing primary school at my
Yeah.
and it's something that at the time was just considered a little game, and now it's become this sort of big thing used by professional clubs. So lots of teams use it now as a scouting system.
Yeah.
Everton started the trend, but there are plenty now in the lower leagues as well, because you've got access to 320 or however many thousand players it is. Which
Even Sky Sports News use it for their transfer headlines and that.
If you get a chance, I did listen to an interview with Miles Jacobson, who I think was the founder of
Sports Interactive,
yeah, all that. But yeah, and he said exactly that. That actually, because they can offer a football club a much more extensive scouting network than what they can have, you know, because they and it's sort of what's the word? Because it's working for this big corporation compared to I work for Everton. Actually, they work for Sports Interactive and they go around whatever.
Yeah,
they actually got access to them,
yeah,
and thus giving people a much bigger sort of thing.
We've talked before about the costs for lower leagues and non-league teams.
Yeah.
If you can just log into a computer and you've got access to 300,000 players, of course there's going to be the odds mishap.
Freddie Adu,
you beat me to which. There's always the odd wonder kid that doesn't work out, but that was the case beforehand as well.
Yeah,
it's just
true.
they weren't as well publicised.
No,
showing that none of us are in the game.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
Despite my team in it.
But despite that, I guess the main thing is that it has a clear benefit for the professional game. It's clear it's saving costs at lower league football. I guess the flip side of that, depending on where you stand on these sort of, again, slightly political issues, is that it does perhaps mean that a team in League 2 or the Conference is looking at a player in Eastern Europe or Central Europe
suppose,
rather than going and looking at the Conference South.
that is a good point.
Or just looking for their own news system.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
Exactly.
no different. You have football clubs, you have data analysts, don't you?
Yes.
You know, you have these
Sports
specific-
science.
Maybe not so much
Probably
lower
not at
down.
that level,
Yeah, but you have someone who's in charge of that sort of thing a bit higher up. And I suppose it's no different to that. Like you say, I do think it's worrying from a perspective of maybe youth. Bringing, you know, you could go on Football Manager and log in and see there's a Bulgarian centre forward who you know you get for a fraction of the price, but. Football, I don't think Football Manager is a massive issue. I think actually Football Manager
I think
is a
Football Manager
massive
is more of an issue for
probably-
adults.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
probably, and it's also probably more.
I mean,
more
have you ever done the thing where like,
positive.
your team gets the FA Cup final in Football Manager and
And stop.
you put on a suit or something?
No, I've never done that. No,
Let's-
that's going too far.
Let's throw up, eh?
People probably do that at FIFA.
No, but there are no. But I genuinely
Yeah.
know people who do stuff like that. You know, who are like I don't know. Say they win something, they'll get a little glass of champagne because they're on Football Manager. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. It's
Go and buy a
But
shit
if you
£10
were-
trophy.
thing
and
is-
drink
yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, if you're recording it for YouTube, fine, I don't mind that. But
Yeah.
if you're
If you're sitting
On
in
your
your house
own.
at 11 o'clock on a Monday morning because you're unemployed, your wife's at work, earning dinner for you, and you decide that the first thing you can do is go and spend that money on a 50 quid suit to play Football Manager in your own house.
Look, and despite Football Manager costing around 30-40 quid, and same thing with
Yeah.
FIFA, the
A great
cost of
value
that.
for money man I had at this point.
I will say the cost of it. Yeah, it's a good
Cost
point,
as
Craig.
well, and obviously with the Ultimate Team as well, FIFA.
Oh,
That's still costing.
that's an awful.
That's-
argument
But
for another day,
you
yeah.
say
It's
that.
terrible.
You say
It's
that.
terrible. The cost.
I disagree slightly because we all collected football stickers, didn't we, as a kid?
Yes.
You know the
Yes.
Merlin,
Yeah,
whatever.
they
they
started
were.
to
coins.
make a
The
comeback
World
for the
Cup
major
coins.
tournaments.
Yeah, the coin. I mean, those coins. Yeah, I
Ledge.
always got David Platt all the time.
Don't remember
in
the
'98.
coins.
I think I Gary Neville's.
But yeah, so the Ultimate Team isn't dissimilar for that in the sense you buy packs, you get all of this, and I suppose there's an
no
argument.
roof though. There's no roof.
No.
There's no. You know, normally you'll get your parents to go and buy you stickers or whatever.
Yeah,
things
that's
like
true.
Whereas
Yeah, you
this,
hear
the
these
kids
horror-
can just spend hundreds.
You hear
of
horror
pounds.
stories of like parents' credit card getting maxed out on
Yeah.
Ultimate Team. But I do think from a perspective of you know development of players and stuff, and even maybe to a point adults, and this maybe sounds a bit sad, but I think you know you're having to work with a set of resources that you get in that pack. So say you end up with I'm trying to think of a lower league footballer, but I don't know, someone from Stevenage Borough in your ultimate team. Who you know you don't know anything about, but you know right, he's left-footed, so I might be able to put him left back. I might be, you know, you're thinking a bit more tactically. You're thinking, and surely that might be able to help you when you're older, or even as an adult, because you look right. Although he's left-footed, is he tall? So maybe you know that sort of thing. It's
I think you seem to be underestimating the amount of people that will just go online and look up how to get 1 billion coins.
no, that's just, no, okay, yeah, no. I think
I mean, I think if you're trying to sell Ultimate Team as a tactical device for young
no, I'm just
then I think we better end that debate there, to be honest. But if we want to be more sensible about it, then fair enough.
No, I think to be honest, I think to start to slowly round this topic off, I think actually FIFA and Pro Evo in moderation can actually have a massive improvement on the development of football,
Yeah.
both at youth level and adult level.
The understanding more than the development.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the sort of tactical understanding, the awareness of, and even to a point, I know I've done it a few times where you're playing football or you've seen a goal and you're like, oh yeah, that's a finesse shot. You know when they like whip it in and
I won that.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and or some of the kids talk about
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the wrong place here.
You
but
got
I mean-
scored goals with a finesse.
I certainly wouldn't go, oh, what a great finesse shot.
Have you ever done that when you're playing football and someone's massively
I can
overhit?
assure you I have never ever done
I've
that.
done that training.
I will
I've
tell
done
you
that
one
training.
thing though. I've only ever used the words incredulous and apoplectic because of Football Manager. I promise you that.
No, but like I've played
I
football
was
before.
assertive.
I've played football before. I don't know if this happened to you two, where someone's swung an across and it's just like ballooned over, like the bar went out for a throw or whatever, and you've gone, oh yeah, he was too hard on square, just like you know what I mean, like that sort of football.
I've never even heard
No.
that.
No way.
Okay, well,
I think
anyway.
I've done that. I think I've used those sort of words in training.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah,
used it in
exactly.
probably in a game where my team is winning 6-7-0.
Yeah.
Never at 1-0.
But I think that to round it off, sorry, again, going back to the sort of original point. I
just wanted to get that in, didn't
yeah,
I?
definitely, 100%.
What's the segue?
What a segue. I think to have it in moderation is good, you know, and I think it can actually act as a tool to improve your game is good. I think once it replaces your game, that's when you're in trouble. I think from a health perspective and participation levels and people just actually playing football, I think once it replaces football, then we're in trouble. I think if it helps improve it as a bolt-on, then great.
Well, you need to find a way to moderate it, really, don't
Yeah.
we? That's the main thing.
And we're going to play FIFA after this podcast.
For at least 5 hours and not getting sleep.
Speaking of 5 hours not getting sleep on FIFA, these two players' stats on FIFA won't be high. It's time for the shit list. Another week, another two players to potentially enter the shit list. Now we're going to use strikers again. We've got
Striker!
not the game or
Sorry,
the
I just want to say that,
comic
sorry.
book.
No, that's
Highly inappropriate.
But
that was a cereal, do you remember back in the 90s anyway?
yeah, it was, yeah. These two players who could potentially make it, as I said. Two strikers, Franco Di Santo versus Marcus Bent.
I think this is going to be an easy one.
Representing
for once we might
Franco
agree
Di
on this.
Santo is Daniel Cody and Charlie
Let's
Bent
use that
is
term loosely.
Marcus Bent. Cody, Franco Di Santo. Talk to me
so,
about him.
I mean, the reason we've got Franco Di Santo on this list, it's a name that a few of us mentioned, and we had a little speak about before we came up with Marcus Bent.
Yeah.
We must add that in, that's the key part. It's generally because he's just quite bad. I mean, his scoring record, let's put it into context. I mean, Craig, we have to listen to Charlie's regular rant about Emil Heskey.
Yeah.
Franco Di Santo has a worse scoring record than Emil Heskey.
Emil Heskey has a good scoring record. He's in the 100 club.
He is in the 100 club.
So shut up about him. Okay. Franco Di Santo, he's only really got a couple of bad points. The first one is he's a really shit footballer. And I mean,
Okay.
he's been at Schalke for 3 years and scored 5 goals in 67 games, and one of those was a hat trick. I mean,
Yeah, and
that means he scored in 2 out of 66 games.
That is pretty
he
grim
scored,
reading, isn't it?
he scored 13 goals for Wigan in 92 appearances.
That's about 1 in 5, which is pretty much his going rate, bar the one
But-
season at Werder Bremen.
But he's won 2 FA Cups.
He has, but I mean, we're reading a bit too much into his
I
impact
know
on that.
what we said. I know what we said about.
Ross Turnbull and people like that.
Yeah, no, people winning trophies, they should not be included in the shit list, yada yada yada. But Franco Di Santo is technically a striker, and his scoring record is horrendous.
The only other thing we've got about him is that he made a quite controversial move from Werder Bremen to Schalke. There's been a lot of politics involved in that, which I really can't be bothered to talk about. So we're
I'm not talking about Germany. We're talking about the Premier League
in the
here.
English game, he was fine, but we've
When
got
was
to
he fine?
recognise. No, it was fine. He was crap, but we've got to take into account that he's gone to other countries and been just as shit.
Yeah, I think the bit that annoys me about him is the fact he keeps getting a move.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. And you could
keeps
say that about
playing.
Marcus Bent, probably more so, and we'll go on to that. But yeah, and keeps getting a game. I mean, he did score in the final of the World Football Challenge in 2009, which is basically
What is that?
it's a pre-season tournament.
Who
So
cares?
why did you feel the need to mention that? Because
I
I'm
think-
ashamed of yourself.
No, because I think that's about his only good goal for Chelsea. Because the other one came against Cluj.
All right.
Cluj.
Let's just agree that it's going to be Marcus Bent. Charlie, off you go.
No. Hold on a minute. Franco Di Santo was dubbed the next Maradona
Not his fault.
before.
Wow.
Sorry, it probably was after Messi. Dubbed next Maradona.
Not his fault.
But Freddie Adu was the next best thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Next Pele.
And Marcus Bent was an average target man at best.
But okay,
if ever a sentence could sum up Franco Di Santo and the height of his career, and this is one of the good moments in his career, is this sentence. On the opening day of the following Premier League season, Di Santo won a penalty from Richie Delat, which teammate Ben Watson converted 1-1 in a 1-1 draw against Norwich City. And that's as good as he got from him at Wigan.
Was that 2012-13?
2011, 2012. The point being, he won a penalty and he still couldn't even take it, and he's the centre forward at a struggling club like Wigan. You've really got to be asking yourself questions, then, haven't you?
Well, yeah. Well, Ben Watson's
the point being, if that's your highlight of your career at Wigan, winning a
That's
penalty,
that's your
getting a
highlight
penalty from
career.
Richie Delat, I think you've really got to...
That's the highlight of your career for
in
England.
English football.
Yeah, and done next best thing. He signed for Chelsea, played 8 games until he got sent on loan for Blackburn.
I mean, the problem I have with this, and it's the only problem I have with this debate, is I'm in complete agreement, and I think we all are, that Marcus Bent's
Well, we'll
going
talk
to end up
about
again.
Marcus Bent in a second.
But my problem is, we've already put Benjani in the shit list. Would you not agree that both of these players are worse than Benjani?
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh,
Because
I
Benjani,
think them
you
two can
mocked
play
for not
together.
scoring. He had hundreds more assists.
Benjani is better than Franco Di Santo. I mean,
and
that's a bit of a
he had a better
curveball.
goal scoring record.
Can we swap him in? Is that allowed?
Could we have 2 players in the shit list this week and 1 taken away?
did we put Benjani as a sub?
We did? Oh, he's a sub. No, actually, oh yeah.
It was reluctant though. It was very reluctant.
So I might change my mind on this. But we'll talk about Marcus Bent
Right.
first.
Well, Marcus Bent, I mean, I'll just kick it off, but I'm sure you two are going to run with it anyway because it makes for hilarious reading. He's, 40 now, from Hammersmith in London, you know, started his career at Brentford,
Great.
scored 8 goals in 70 games, which again doesn't make it great reading, but you could argue that he was young. He then went on to play for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 clubs. Okay, he played 500 games and he scored 97 goals, which doesn't sound awful. My issue with him, how did he keep getting a move? He never got double figures for a single team in a single season
Is that
as a
just-
centre forward, and he kept getting a move all the time.
But to me, in terms of his play, I know we're going to talk about some of his personal
Yeah.
issues later, which are the
I
reasons.
don't think we will, but
Well, we might. I think what we have to look at is that Marcus Bent, in his prime, fell into the same sort of category as Benjani. He was a good hold-up player. He brought players into play. That season where Everton finished 4th, the year Liverpool won the Champions League, 04-05,
yeah.
he was fantastic as the starting striker. They took him out of the team the next year for James Beattie and it all went tits up. So we do have to focus on the team play rather than just the goals. We do get a bit hung up on goals.
No, but I think
it's not an
To be
awful
honest,
record.
coach, I've looked at his record. 7 goals for Everton.
Yeah.
7 Premier League goals, should I say? 7 Premier League goals. His highest Premier League season was 9 goals with Ipswich. They
Season I went there.
yeah, but they bought him for £3 million.
I know.
and that's the bit that gets me. How did he keep getting a move?
And he got moves, and he got 3 Premier League relegations. Because he went to Charlton in that famous season.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like-
Palace. He got relegated with Palace.
What I don't understand is surely as we say, 16 clubs.
And
By
Leicester.
club 9, they must have thought, what I don't understand is that someone at these clubs, by club 9, 10, must have thought, he might be a bit of a dud here. Why do we keep investing in people?
We do
like
need to mention that Club 15 was in Indonesia and
Yeah.
Club 16 is
It's
a
non-league.
very, very non-league club.
Yeah, but this is the
Southern
age of
Combination Premier Division.
And he's only there because his schoolmate's the manager or chairman. or
Chairman,
something
yeah,
like that.
Rodney Lampson. But I just don't get, what I don't get is how he keeps getting a move by club 8 or 9. I mean,
By-
everyone knew by then he was never going to get you more than a couple of goals
By-
this season for a large sum of money.
And he's quite
that's
clearly not the
thing.
best character, so...
No, well, yeah, I mean...
I've got 215 Premier League appearances and 40 goals. Over 1, 2, 8, 9 clubs. But Frank Di Santo's won 2 FA Cups. Marcus Bent has won nothing.
Yeah,
He's won 1 promotion, but he's won nothing.
But this is the point that I keep going back to, is how he kept getting moved for such big money. I mean, most of his transfers, I know he's done quite a few on loans and some on free. Most of his transfers were well over £1 million.
And the early career was all about potential, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's another one similar to De Santo, actually. It was all
Darren
about
Bent's
potential.
similar to that,
He does a
to me,
bit of
yeah,
everything.
but-
He does a bit of
That's
everything
different.
well. Darren Bent had a few very good seasons. I think we should leave that.
different.
out.
Yeah, he's
I don't
definitely
know.
not in
But-
I still think he lived off the tent. Anyway, carry on.
But with Marcus Bent, there were a lot of quotes about how much potential he is, how he did that bit, the all-round player. He hasn't got a bad attribute. He does everything all right, you know. But at the end of the day, he's a poor player. He doesn't seem to be a very nice bloke, and There is no reason we can defend him from going.
In reference to the not very nice bloke bit, I'll miss most of that. But
I'm not going to read.
There's a couple of sentences that made me laugh. First of all, he split up from his wife and he's since got engaged with 2 other people. After his playing career ended, Bent went into the oil business.
That's the line I had. That's the line.
How did he get into the oil business?
We put Danny Mills in for, I can't remember what company it was now.
Yeah, a West Country Pasties.
The pasty company.
So surely you've got to go in.
Right.
We're not going to go there, but we have had to skip bits out, which tells you how bad it is.
There's a massive elephant in the room.
I think it's a clear obvious winner. Marcus Bent is in this automatically, because of the personal life in the oil business, because we had West Country Pasties, just because of the sheer moves, and he's won nothing.
And the money that he got.
Every Premier League club he's been to, he has not, as a striker,
he's been to most of them.
Yeah, but most of them, and most of them have been relegated, has not got to double figures.
Could I put one more final case through? Could he be captain of that team? Because he is the most dead sir that list.
I mean, Stephen Bywater's pushing it.
No. I would have had Scaloni, but you binned him off last week. So the point being now, I personally think, well, maybe we could do it at the end of the series. Who's going to be captain? Who is the most deserving to be on that list? But for me at the minute, it's definitely Marcus.
Just to stop you ranting every week, what we could maybe do eventually is put Scaloni on the bench and make him club captain. Like Mertesacker was for about 5 years.
And on that note,
definitely Marcus Bent, Franco De Santo.
We'll see.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to include him in.
Wonderful.
Good. And Benjani gets...
No. Benjani's still in. Benjani's still in.
Travesty.
We are not playing 3 up front. We've learned about tactics.
There's no CDM role yet. But, yeah, both of them are in for me. Both are in. Because as strikers, you are strikers. You've got to... Your job is to score goals. If Steve Watson has scored more goals than you, and he's a right back, something is clearly wrong.
And he got a lot more money than Steve Watson. I can assure you of that.
The thing is,
and a lot more money to score goals.
Steve Watson scored a hat-trick for Everton. Marcus Bent didn't even get him close. So
he's in.
They're both in.
Complete agreement, I think.
Complete agreement. This is rare for the shit list, and that's it.
Okay, so the next topic we are going to talk about streaming live football matches, and is it stopping you going to live games? So. There has been obviously in the news recently, although we don't really talk about the Premier League a lot and we won't do, there's obviously been quite a bit in the press about Amazon, who have managed to get 20 games for the Premier League.
Yeah, for Boxing Day.
Which, as we've discussed in more or less every episode, whatever tends to happen at the top will be filtered down. Obviously not to grassroots in this case, but even maybe down into lower league football eventually. And I suppose what we're going to discuss is what impact could that have. Obviously we haven't got a crystal ball, but if we did, what do we think? How do we think it's going to look in maybe 5-10 years time?
Predictable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
I do worry a little bit. We'll talk about
we'll look at the effects. Obviously, there's a ban in the UK showing live football matches between 2:45 and 5:15. So
rightly so.
And rightly so. I agree. But legal streams. There's always a way. There's always some country in the world.
Good emphasis of the word legal there, because I will openly admit I've watched illegal
so have I. Yeah, so have I. I've watched Man United games.
You bastard.
That's only because we don't want to watch Gateshead versus bloody, I don't know, Harrogate on Free Sports.
And that's why non-league football's collapsing.
But that's what I said. No, but do you really want to watch a live game that's live from the USA, or do you want to listen to Soccer Saturday?
Yeah.
Final score, BT Sports.
What I'd rather do is go to a live game at 3 o'clock from the live game.
Yeah. Although
it's well, you can say it's a lot cheaper to go to watch a live stream than it would be going to watch a Premier League game or to a lower league game.
Just
even a lower
clarify
league
them. I don't know if anyone knows the answer to this, but from a legal perspective, if it's been streamed between 3:15 and 5:15, is that the times, wasn't it? Does that count as being shown live then? What I mean is obviously they can't put them on Sky at 3, but can they do that?
Because it's not shown on a UK channel.
So in theory, they could eventually, if they bought them,
yes, I mean,
they could show the 3 o'clock.
They're all broadcast.
Yeah, America will show you.
But it's not 3 o'clock.
No, but I get that. But what I mean is can they do that here?
No.
So even Amazon still won't be able. Oh, so that's okay. I see what you mean.
I think it's made for Saturday. I could be wrong.
So what they've got, and this is the thing that annoys me most about this streaming, the Amazon deal. And I know it's about a Premier League subject, but it affects the lower leagues greatly because of the way it's been sold. So it is only 20 games, as you say. But normally, as with BT and Sky or ESPN, Setanta in the old days, that stupid Premiership pay-per-view thing.
Oh, Setanta. Yeah, that was awful.
What we have to remember is that those games, they're just one game at 5:15
or 4 o'clock
on a Sunday and things like that. So you can still go to your game at 3 o'clock, and then it's actually quite a good excuse to go and socialise at the pub or a restaurant after and watch the game, you know. But with these, the 20 games are just 2 fixture sets.
Yeah.
So they're all at the same
2 sets of 10 games. So we've got
Yeah.
all of the Boxing Day games being shown simultaneously,
Yeah.
and another midweek fixture list where exactly the same thing's happening. Now, there's a problem with this for me. Is if you've got 10 games with 20 teams available, that's going to rule out pretty much every person. Because I support Luton Town, but there's some Premier League teams I
you
enjoy
want to
watching.
watch.
Craig's a Luton fan, but Eden also is a Manchester United fan, secondly, you know, or firstly, whichever way Randy wants to. Depending on how Luton's doing.
Luton's doing great.
He's a Luton fan now. But my point is that
I'm a
if there are 20 people who have got a soft spot from any area of the country, have got a soft spot for a Premier League team, and that game's being shown live, they're going to watch that. So if you're watching 5:15 on BT Sport or whatever, and it's West Brom against Norwich for a couple of years ago, or whatever it would be now, are you realistically going to worry about, I can't go to my team's away game this week because I might not be back for the 5:15 game?
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got 10 games with all 20 Premier League teams, that lower league fan who's got that second club, they're going to be watching it.
Yeah.
And all of those people aren't going to be attending the games.
No.
I think.
No, you definitely
Mate,
see
good
it.
point. But thing is now, if the Football League have got their own streaming service,
Which
I
is just
follow.
as diabolical, by the way.
I follow. At the
What's it
moment,
called? iPhone?
I follow.
I follow.
I follow.
Gosh, right, go on.
Have you
So-
seen the subscription prices for that? by the
I
way?
haven't, and I don't think I want to.
No,
but
you don't want to.
It's mainly for, to start with, it was mainly for overseas viewers. So if you're from France, you can watch at Luton Town, for example, for a certain amount of money, and then
Oh, so you literally watch that specific team?
yeah, you can watch that specific team
Goodness me.
at 3 o'clock because it's a stream.
Yeah.
But now they're introducing it for the UK,
Yeah.
but not in that banned time. So if what is the point of me subscribing to iFollow just for midweek games?
I see what you mean, because you could potentially go to them,
So,
couldn't you?
so
I
in
can
that
search.
sense.
What's the point? What it me?
I suppose the inconvenience
I know,
is 3
obviously-
o'clock, is it?
Yeah, but what's the point of me? Like as a Luton Town fan, I can go down the road to Kenilworth Road, or if I've been more loyal, I'll go to Coventry away. Be it Lord's
So
Square.
I'm gonna link to that actually, because this is something that's really annoyed me, because this came out about 2 days after I bought my season ticket, which by the way was £445 for League
Wow.
One football. What?
Where are you sitting?
Well, I didn't quite catch the early bird special, so now I'm paying the League One promotion price.
You would the early bird special if it was at the restaurant.
I would certainly not miss that, and that's probably why I missed the season ticket.
Yeah.
But my problem with it is, I don't know if it's this season or the following season, they're going to be showing, as you mentioned, the non-3 o'clock Saturday games. So like the midweek fixtures are all going to be broadcast live on iFollow.
Yeah.
So if you pay the $3.99 or $4.99 a month or whatever it is, I don't know if it's a week or a month, then you'll get to watch them games.
Yeah.
So I've just paid £445 to go and watch them in the freezing cold snow in November
Yeah.
or whatever. And I could have just sat at home for $3.99
Yeah.
and watched all the midweek games. And then just bought a few individual tickets. So what's the incentive for me to pay
Exactly.
£450 to this lower league
So it's
team?
going to kill all the clubs, isn't it?
And certainly, what's the incentive of me going to an away game when I can watch it on a... Why would I go to Accrington Stanley on a Tuesday night and stand on the uncovered terrace in the freezing cold and the pouring rain when I can watch it for $3.99?
Yeah, I think that a lot of clubs seem to be chasing that money, but I think right, by the sound of it, like you were saying, they're actually cutting their nose off to spite their face because they're going to lose.
Lose the
And
attendance.
doing it with the midweek games, I appreciate that it's
Yeah.
to get to the fans that can't get there at times as well, but
I can't
the
say
midweek fans are the loyal fans, and if you get rid of those fans,
Yeah.
then you're left with nothing at the lowest level of the Football League and non-league.
It does feel like as well we're in a slight sort of thing in society now where everything has to be fairly quick and instant.
Yeah.
You know, like you can now get highlights of football matches at 5:15, which I think
Yeah.
is shocking. You know, like if you
You're killing match of the day.
well, just exactly, and that whole institution and the excitement of having to wait until 10:30 to see the goals and
Yeah.
you know all
And now
that.
you can watch them at 5:15 on the app. What's
Yeah,
that?
and that's probably what. Or I don't know, but I assume that iFollow thing. If you don't watch the stream,
They'll
those
show highlights.
places will have the individual
There's
highlights.
highlights,
the
they're
thing
on
is-
YouTube
Whereas
the
now-
day
if
after.
what-
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
What
what's
channel's
the-
the Football League showing?
It's
Oh,
on
it's on Quest
It's
next
on
year.
Quest for next season.
What?
Yeah,
I thought
Quest.
it was Channel 5.
Yeah, no,
They
lost
changed
it.
it. Yeah, they lost
But
it.
either way, there's no, like you say, there's no
But there's
incentive
no-
now to watch that,
But
is
that's
there?
why it's on Quest now,
Yeah.
because what's the incentive for a TV company to have the Football League
Yeah,
rights at
because
9
everyone's
o'clock out of the
already
main
seen
drive? There isn't an incentive.
I mean, I did read an interesting thing in a book by they got that secret footballer, that anonymous
Oh yes.
columnist.
That you keep
Yeah.
going on about.
No, his books are very good actually. I would recommend them. But he mentioned something in there which is something that I could see eventually happening off of the back of this Amazon business is, like Facebook Live and that sort of
Yeah, they're close
Is
to
it
the family
Instagram
rights.
as well that you? So literally, someone could, in theory, from their seat, stream a football match at 3
I
o'clock.
thought
and
some
all
people
that.
already done that, and then.
Well, that's what I mean. I think there was one game that they've done it recently. I don't know when they trialled it, but if that takes off, that's your like you were just saying, that's your away fans gone. Then you know I could sit effectively with the VAR set. I keep saying that VR set, virtual reality set, not VAR. The bloody thing keeps coming up.
VAR will rule the world.
But in theory, I could
It's like a
like
bloody power advert.
well, like we were saying earlier about the virtual reality of kicking a ball. The way it's going, in theory, I could be in the away end without actually being in the away end. And like you say, that is the most, in my opinion, the most pointless way of ever watching football.
Also,
But it's cost effective, and that's what you're weighing up. And it goes back to maybe what we were saying before a few weeks ago about the cost of going to a football match. You know, does one now need to lower, or you know, is it going to spiral out of control?
Yeah.
Do football clubs need to lower their ticket prices?
I've also seen live stream for non-league games.
Yeah, conference
By-
games now
by-
that just
but
started.
not
as
just
well.
like conference. I'm talking about lower.
Oh.
Lower.
As
Yeah.
in individual ball.
Yeah, but like it'd be on YouTube, live stream, yada yada. Great.
Yeah.
But who's going to watch? I
'Cause
know
not
obviously
all-
there's like a team that showed it live.
Yeah.
They've got a bit of following. They've got some like Spanish director, not naming
But I
any teams,
think-
but what, I'm all right. I'll go to the game. It's only going to cost me
Yeah.
5, 6, like £7. Just
Yeah,
Well,
well,
just to do that if you can watch it for free will be the argument of the
It's-
generation
exactly.
below us.
and,
possibly.
and that's the thing. And just to hit you with some
but I'd rather
stats.
have
there-
the atmosphere than watching it on my laptop.
Well, this is where I feel like this whole streaming and thing is getting more elitist in the sense that, just to hit you with some stats, 20 years ago, like Premier League clubs all the way down, well, their revenue from ticket sales was about 50% of their income, whereas now Premier League clubs, I reckon it's less than 15% of like their income comes from ticket sales, in the sense of, sorry, not income, their like wage bill, the way they pay their wages and stuff like that. Like 50% of that used to be coming from how many tickets they sold,
Yeah,
whereas now because of sponsorships and stuff,
Well,
it's only like
TV deals as
15%
well.
of it.
The TV
yeah.
deal.
So the point being is that actually people not turn up to Premier League games, although it could hurt them a bit, it's not going to have the same impact as what it would on a League 2 club. And unfortunately, like we were saying before, I think this sort of stuff is going to hit the lower clubs much harder than what it's going to hit your Manchester
I
Cities and
agree,
all
to
that.
be
You
honest.
know,
I mean, I've sat here quite patiently, but I'm going to go on a rant now.
Go for it.
There is, as I've said to you in person, there is no subject that annoys me more than this. As a football fan who enjoys watching football, as a sports fan who enjoys watching sports more generally, I won't talk about it too much because this is a football podcast. But
You're being honest, and that's what it is.
that's
about.
exactly. So, as far as I'm aware of sports rights that will be interested to a UK viewer, Amazon have acquired 2 Premier League games, because we're saying 20, but there's only 2 you can watch.
Yeah.
Because as
That's
far as
true,
I know,
yeah.
there's no recording function. It's only playbackers, things like that.
you can't watch them all at the same. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's only that, and they've got the US Open tennis as well, Grand Slam.
Oh, I mean,
Have they?
Yeah,
Oh,
from this year.
lovely.
So,
a few-
and that's on in the middle of the night. So now, if you can't record that, I mean,
yeah, a few NFL games.
But my point for this, my point
No,
for
okay,
this
for the
is
NFL.
with BT and with Sky Sports. Yes, we moan about the fees. Yes, we moan about how much it costs for what you're getting. But the point is, you've got access to multiple sports channels and multiple sports, live sports, chat shows about sport all day, every day, and you're getting your money's worth. Essentially, we moan about it, but we are getting our money's worth for how much we watch.
Yeah.
With that, you have to buy an Amazon Prime subscription to watch it,
Yeah.
which is, I believe, 60 quid on a knockoff and then 80 quid
Yeah,
on
80
normal
normal,
price.
yeah. I'll-
$7.99 a month, whichever way you want to do it,
Yeah.
monthly or something. But if you're a sports fan and you're interested in nothing else, so for me, I hate movies, I don't like box sets,
No,
I'm
no.
not going to watch anything else. So that's all I'm watching out of that. And I'm paying 80 quid to watch 2 football matches and a few tennis games that might just about be after 6 or 7 o'clock when I get up in the morning.
Yeah.
So what's the incentive for a sports fan to pay for those 2 games?
Well-
and the proof is, not much, because where it's been done in America, the viewing figures have been much lower for American
Yeah.
sports. And all you're doing is those kids we were talking about, they're inspired by the people they see. Well, they're definitely going to be playing video games now because they can't watch the bloody game.
No, that's true. And I think, like, the US Open, for example, the tennis, really, I mean, it's not very possible. Most football fans I know aren't bothered about tennis. So, like you're saying, that 80 quid, you're then paying 40 quid a game. Well, for 40 quid a game, you can go to the stadium and watch it. Do you know what I mean? If
And
you're
at
going to do that.
at the very best, you're paying 25 quid a game and then 25 quid if Andy Murray gets
Yeah,
the final.
exactly.
So, like, do you know what I mean? That's what you're paying for.
Yeah,
basically.
but I think...
which we know he won't get.
Not this year, anyway.
But I do think that I think you've hit I think you've touched on a very good point there about the...
It's a nerve.
Right.
It's
Yeah, it's
touching a
touching,
nerve.
it is touching a nerve. But I think it's... Unfortunately, I think this is Amazon, for example, as a company, you know, dipping their toe in,
They're not
and
the
now
only
they've got
one.
their
They're
foot in
not
the
the only
door. Yeah, exactly. And
Do you think they made a bad deal?
no, because I think although well, like you've just said, there will be die-hard fans out there. You know, as much as we've slagged it off, there will be die-hard fans out there who will buy an Amazon subscription. I mean, I haven't got any facts or figures, but I have no doubt that their number of subscriptions would have increased off the back of this. For the simple reason, there will be people who will pay that 80 quid a year to watch those.
Well,
two
they had the
matches.
same.
Non-sport.
They had the same with the Grand Tour, didn't they?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, people do that actually. Yeah,
I think they did say that they will make a loss for the first year.
For the first year, but I think this is where people are missing the big picture. In a long-term perspective, that will start at 20 games. 2 years' time, I reckon you'll have another double that. Do you know what I mean?
And
there's
take like
a bit
years
more
anyway.
to the dirty dealings here as well, which is they've basically sold this big thing of, well, you can just start the 1 month free trial for this. So what they're basically saying is, we know most people are going to start a 1 month free trial and then cancel it before the month finishes. We're basically going to make our money back off the people who forget to cancel their month free trial.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to be then hit with an 80 quid bill and there's nothing they can do about it. And they're never going to watch it again the following year. And to me, that's a dirty deal.
Well, I think it's each Premier League game. I know we're not meant to be talking about it too much, but each Premier League game costs Sky 9.3 million to run it. Like in terms of the buying of the game, the paying of the pundits.
Oh yeah.
9.3 million. I mean, Amazon. That's, as far as I'm aware, that's not a lot. I guarantee you, in a few years' time,
the production costs is.
Yeah, if this isn't nipped in the bud, I can see this really going on and on and on. The difference being, I think, with the US Open, as far as I'm aware, they pay 10 million because they then just get the feed or whatever it is, change it, you know, put a few graphics
on it.
Whereas, obviously, with the Premier League, you have to have your own side of it. But for a company like Amazon, I think this is all a big way of getting a big hit of money, and they'll build in from it.
My biggest worry is that if this works, and if they get that hit that they need, then we're going to get to the stage where all 380 games are going to be live simultaneous on whatever, like most leagues are over here or in their own native countries. And in all of those other leagues, they have a poor lower league system. They have a non-existent non-league system. Well, and we're talking about putting thousands and thousands of professionals and semi-professionals out of a job eventually.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think it's so harmful, not for the top. I think the top will thrive off of it, which is.
But we're not focused on the top.
Exactly.
The effects it's going to have is going to be disastrous if it keeps on and goes on for a long term. Which isn't a great ending for light entertainment, but
but it's a good point. I think it is. It's a very dangerous. I think. Well, I think that's the whole point of it. It's a very dangerous. Beast that's coming.
For me, it is the worst thing that could happen to lower league football, and it's going to be the biggest thing to the detriment of it in the next
I do hope in our lifetime, like you say, that we still have lower league football, because I think you're right. I think you really hit the nail on the head.
Who's going to watch it on BT Sport? Who's going to go to the game?
I think if you're getting 700 odd teams entering the biggest cup competition, club competition in the world, that's still saying something. It's still going to be
for now, but it's the case of
the rights are starting next year though. What if
they might as well start TV rights for the extra preliminary round then. Stream it live on.
Yeah, but I think
they
the
were
point
doing
is
that on
making.
BBC last year with
the
qualifying rounds. Every qualifying round from first to fourth, they did. The preliminary is the only one they didn't do actually.
But I think I think the point he's making, I totally agree, is the fact of
10 years
there's
down
no
the line.
incentive to go and watch it. There's no incentive to go to live football now.
And who's going to renew? Are BT going to renew the rights for the conference games if you can watch all the 3 o'clock kickoffs?
Yeah, exactly. No,
and then the lower league football doesn't have any exposure. Those big FA Cup ties.
And also, what we forget about lower league football is not just the tickets they rely on.
Yep.
I know it sounds silly, but it's the teas, the pies, the programmes, all that you don't need when you're.
Hungry people who go in the club shop if they have a great result.
Do you know what I mean? You don't get that when you're sat at home and you're.
I honestly think this is the one thing that has the potential to kill lower league football, and as a result, kill this podcast probably.
No, because you'll be ranting every week about the same thing.
Yes.
Now it's time for question of the day again. As it stands, Charlie Betts is leading 1-0 after a 3 continuous weeks of.
And that's how it's going to stay.
Unlike the World Cup.
And how many 1-0s have there been at the World Cup?
Quite a lot, actually. Surprisingly, it's quite a lot.
I think metaphorically, I'm going to take this to the corner now and just hold it there.
You're going to be like Japan.
I don't think anyone will be tackling.
Go on in, Craig. What is it? Go on.
It's got to do with...
What theme is it?
It's League 2
bloody hell.
football.
If it's before Luton got back up there, I haven't got a clue either. So.
It's not before they got back up, it's when they went down.
I can't afford Sky Sports.
Come on, Craig.
Right.
I'm well out of my comfort zone here with this one.
League 2, 2008-2009 season, Luton were deducted 30 points.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cruelly, some will say, it was fair play, but it's not. They obviously had 30 points and got relegated.
Yeah.
Who was the team, if Luton didn't get 30 points, would have been relegated?
Bournemouth.
I suppose I can't say them, can I?
Sure it's Bournemouth. I think I might know one.
Hang on. I'm going to long this out, but I genuinely don't have a clue.
Well, this is a podcast and people will probably stop
I
listening.
am going to go for
Good time for an advert.
Yeah.
Macclesfield.
Ooh.
It's going to be really bad if I'm wrong after half a second.
Well, guess what? You're wrong.
Is it not Bournemouth?
It's not Bournemouth.
It's not Macclesfield, is
It
it?
can't be the other one, is it?
It's
Rotherham?
not Macclesfield and it's not Rotherham.
Oh, so it's neither of the -17s.
Neither the -17s.
I just went for assumption on that.
I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
What's a clue that is? I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue. I'll give it a whole bloody answer.
I'm on the answer.
I think you might be able to call this one back, mate. Go on.
There's just a bit too much left.
Let's edit that bit out. We'll put out the blooper reel.
Right, Dan, who do you think it was?
So Grimsby, Craig.
Was it Grimsby Town?
We're itching to know.
Alright, well. Oh, Jesus. We can edit that bit out. The answer was, in fact, Grimsby Town.
What a surprise.
What a surprise, yeah.
So
I realised that I'll give you a clue, it's Grimsby.
does that make it 1-0 to me?
It's still 1-0 Charlie. Grimsby Town, yeah.
I think that's controversial.
I'll give you why Bournemouth didn't get relegated.
Grimsby went down.
Grimsby didn't get down.
Is it because Luton had -30 and Grimsby finished 22nd?
Yeah, that too. But
I'll give you a clue. No, go on.
I'll give you a little bit of stats. Chester.
I'll have it down with us.
Chester, yeah, got relegated. They on 37 points.
They'll
Bournemouth,
go bust, Chester.
when they were in the conference the following season.
Right.
Then reformed and
Then
back in the
reformed,
conference.
and
Did they get relegated this
they got
season?
relegated, yeah. The two guys from Salford City have taken over.
Oh, good luck to them.
So Bournemouth, who you predicted, Coves, they ended on 46
I think I
points.
predicted Grimsby, didn't I?
No, you didn't. No one predicted Grimsby apart from me because I gave you the massive clue. Bournemouth.
What a clue, Craig. It's the answer. There's a massive difference.
I meant to say answer and I had a clue because I do want to long it out.
Oh my god.
I do want to long it out.
Go on.
Do you really start this again?
No, this is
No, we've got another hour in this.
This is staying in.
I think you've just made the Christmas special, haven't you?
Yeah, I definitely have. Bournemouth, if they didn't have the same team
Craig,
points,
I think we're done, mate. Thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you next week for more honesty.
don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Comment below how much of an idiot I was for saying there was a clue. And we'll see you soon.